Hello and welcome back to the Stateside Soccer Show. My name is Jordan Wiegand, and if you were wondering who I was saying welcome back to, it was Logan Stump since he wasn't here last week.
I was gonna say, was that a welcome back for me since I had to
Yes.
miss last week? That felt very. You know what's crazy, Jordan, is how fast weeks go by and how long ago things feel now that we've gotten old.
Yeah. Yeah, it
Unbelievable.
goes fast. I just was recording the video game podcast yesterday, and we were celebrating 18 months of PS5 and Xbox
Yeah,
Series X. It's already been 18 months of that. They don't even feel like they've been out that long. Like
right.
that's time marches on,
I
right?
mean, some people haven't gotten the PS5 yet, so maybe that's how it's like. It doesn't feel that long
Yeah, not
since
you though.
I've had it for like 3 months. Okay, it's not been that short. It's been like 4 or 5. So
Yeah, so that's what time marches on. I was while the countdown was going on, I was literally thinking, did Logan miss last week or did he miss the week before? And I had to think about it
yep, I
before
did
I did
too.
the intro because I was like, well, that was quick then. I don't know. Like it doesn't feel like that long ago that we last had you on. But also I knew you had missed one. So time is relative.
I missed a ton too. Aaron on the Sada got canned.
Yeah.
Almeida is officially gone. I think we talked about that. Maybe I don't remember.
Yeah, we did get that one
Yeah.
in, yeah.
What else happened? Oh, the Nashville opened a new stadium. We'll talk about that. That's kind of fun.
Mhm.
Andre Blake bleached his hair. That's kind of cool. So lots of stuff to get into.
Lots of good stuff for us to get into. We'll start with a bit of news, I guess. Chicago Fire nearing the return of one Chris Mueller, who just left
Cash.
Orlando at the end of the season last year. 25-year-old went over to Hibs or Hibernian um, in the Scottish Premiership, and he's going to depart on a free transfer. Orlando's going to receive compensation, which is going to be GAM, and to get the MLS rights. And Chicago is going to get the Illinois native Chris Mueller. He has not scored anything in the league, the Scottish Premiership, but he scored one cup goal. He's out of both all competitions. I think it's been 15 appearances, one goal. So not great for Chris Mueller. They also just fired their manager over in Hibs. So there you go. There's reason right there. But for Chicago, this makes sense. They get a proven MLS guy. He is from their area. Shabilko and Shaqiri and other players like that for Chicago have not really been scoring goals. So maybe this will help a little bit. They also are signing uh, Jairo Torres as a young DP from Atlas. So they're bolstering their attack. Their top goal scorers, Logan, both have 2 goals, and that's Shabilko and Shaqiri. The team itself has scored 6 goals. Do you know that is the lowest in MLS along with Vancouver?
Mhm.
So they definitely need a boost. You're an Orlando City fan. You're aware of Cash Mueller. What is your thought here of him going to Chicago? Um, and do you think he can produce?
Yeah, so he had 22 goals with Orlando, 126 matches, according to FOTMob, and we know that they can be a little bit off sometimes. But I mean, looking at his career stats, I mean, he's a guy that he'll score goals if he can get chances and create chances and opportunities on the wing. Thing about Chris is that I really like is that he's tenacious. He's one of the, I mean, I think hardest working guys when he's out on the pitch. Like I think he's like an energizer, and I think with this team, I mean, slot him in front of Shaqiri, um, next to Shabelko. I think you've got a guy that's going to provide some chances for this team to score goals. I think being a Chicago native, he had written a book about just being at home and being in Chicago and stuff like that when he was a kid and playing soccer, youth soccer there. And he, I think it was interesting just to kind of follow his story. And Hibbs didn't quite work out, I think, like the way he wanted it to. He's on the older side. You and I talked about this, Jordan, because we were talking about guys that we thought were potential. I mean, this was a couple months ago that he was even in consideration. I think it was back in June or July when he's playing Gold Cup or something that we thought, had he played well last season, that he could have kind of kept par and maybe have subbed in on some of those U.S. men's national team appearances through the Gold Cup and Nations League. But he didn't play very well last year. And, there was this talk of him being moved, and then he kind of fell out of favor with Oscar Pereira here in Orlando. And I don't think it was anything like personality-wise. I think it was just the fact that he just wasn't playing very well. And then as the season kind of went on, it was just like he never got back to that year that he had in 2020. And I think it kind of fizzled out for him. And then I think it kind of carried on into Hibbs over in the Scottish Prem. But I think this is a good move for Chicago. I like this move just because it gives them depth. It gives them a scoring option. He's not going to score a ton. I'd say 3 or 4 goals is pretty realistic. But I like this move. His setting up for Shavelka, I think just, that ability to kind of get inside and create is a big thing for him coming out on his left foot. And he creates pretty well on both sides, and he's going to press really well. So that kind of works out for Chicago. So I don't know. I think it's a great move for them. It's a free transfer and they don't have to spend a ton on him. So I don't know. I kind of like this move for Chicago. You and I were texting about it, but it's kind of my thoughts.
They don't know that we talk outside the show.
Oh, crap. I was telepathically speaking to Jordan.
No, I do agree with you. I think it's a good move for them. I think he'll score more than 3 or 4. I guess it depends on what type of form he comes in on and how quickly he gets here, right? But it sucks for him, I guess. Maybe he realized just going overseas wasn't on the cards. He didn't want to. Look, here's the thing. If we like you said, he's at the age right now where that was his chance to go overseas, right? Like sometimes you get those age 25, 26, that's your chance to go overseas. What he probably didn't want to do is stick it out at Hibbs for so long, getting no playing time or no starts. 11 appearances, most of those were not starts. Not being in good form. And he realized, okay, I could do that for a while and then maybe bounce around to an even smaller club over there like Belgium, regain form, then try to make another move, and that takes another 2 or 3 years. Or I could just go somewhere that's close to home. I can, score goals in MLS. I already know MLS, and I can, make my case, right? Maybe he's interested in trying to get on that World Cup roster. Not sure if he would, right? But maybe that's a goal of his as well. He's like, time's ticking. I thought maybe going overseas would be better, but maybe I have to go back over to home. 2, it could just be he realized he couldn't cut it over there living, right? So you're far away from your family. It's just you. You're in a foreign country and you realize, I miss home. And in this case, maybe I can try to get something closer to home that's not Orlando. I can get Chicago because I'm from Illinois. Maybe that is the process as it works as well. I don't know. Those are probably the 2 options. Like he realized when you go overseas, you can kind of get stuck in this like, now I have to jump to this league to try to prove myself there, or I might have to take 2 steps back to try to get a step forward again. And that could take a while. And when you're 25, you don't got a while. Right? You're near the peak of your career, especially in soccer, right? Like you're at the point of I'm supposed to be in my prime from now till probably 32, right? So I don't want to languish away on the bench wasting prime years.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could take the Matthew Hoppe instance or the Josh Sargent or the those kind of guys that, like you said, Jordan, they're kind of journeymen and getting stuck in like this. You do getting stuck in this like vicious cycle that just spits you out in the end. And it's not. So you're like Jordan. I think you and I talk about this, and Chris, I don't think either of us have him on a projected lineup or any part of the roster that's going forward in the U.S. men's national team. But I mean, you got guys like Pflock and Josh Sargent. You see what some of these moves can do to guys. And Josh and Pflock are younger, so it's kind of like, what happens if stuff like we talk about this, like if you pick the wrong team or if you pick the wrong system, it can go pretty poorly for you. I thought the best one recently was a good choice, but he got hurt, unfortunately. It was Jordan Morris in Swansea. Like, I felt like he was really starting to fit into that club, and getting older in his career. But I mean, you got to be really careful about what you pick. Like, the next move that Christian Pulisic makes is crucial to his success going
Pepe
forward.
goes to Augsburg.
There you go.
Wasn't even used this last week, I believe, right?
Yeah.
So
DK.
Of course, now the good thing for Pepe is 18.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got that time. But if you're looking at somebody that's 25, right? You're like, oh, I don't have that time.
Yeah.
That's probably part of the decision there. I don't have him really in a contention for a spot on the roster, but if he's a professional and he's been in the U.S. team before, he thinks he does, right?
Yeah.
You have to think you do.
Yeah.
Right? So he's like, my best chance might be not probably going over there. He thought my best chance is to get overseas.
Mm-hmm.
Then he wasn't doing anything. He sees, well, Pepe was called in when he was in MLS. I was called in when I was in MLS. Let me go back over there, score some goals, and maybe get some call-ups. Because Pepe is now out of form. Is he going to be called in? Probably not.
Right.
This is where it gets, like you said, Pulisic, he's always going to be called in.
Mm-hmm.
But his next move is crucial because he wasn't barely used again this week.
Mm-hmm.
Barely used at all the week before. I saw a U.S. account tweet something out on a day of the, I think, Champions League game with, or it was a game where Pulisic never made an appearance, okay? And the U.S. account, fan account, post early that day a GIF of Pulisic scoring the goal, that really nice goal he did in the last window. And it said, today Christian Pulisic plays soccer. Guess what? He wasn't used. And most of the replies in that before the game, too, were, I don't know if he does. It's not a lock, right? And for a lot of these players overseas for the Americans, they're not a lock. So while we might say this is the most talented generation, this is the one that has the most talent, this is the one that Greg is underperforming with, this is that, Pulisic's at Chelsea, etc. At the end of the day, what it comes down to is they're not the number one guy on their team. They're not even close. Pulisic is going to have to go to like an Everton. He's going to have to go to another club like that, a West Ham, somewhere where he actually has a legitimate chance of playing and being one of the stars on his team. He's not going to ever be that for Chelsea. That's why I never wanted him to go there, even though I'm a Chelsea fan. I was like, I don't want this conflict of interest. And guess what? The way that they've handled Pulisic has actually made me sour on Chelsea as a whole. I don't feel the connection there anymore because I want to see Pulisic do well there, but I also want the team to do well. So if the best option is him not to play, then I feel hurt. If the best option is for him to play and they don't play him, then I'm upset. So it becomes this thing of where I'm at war with the U.S. men's side and the club side. And of course, for me, it always goes U.S. men's national team first. So that's part of that and why I didn't want him to go there. Because I'm like, this whole conflict of interest. Now, it's cool to get a kit with the number 10, with the Pulisic, but yes, even if you look at his stats are pretty good. But the thing is, the fans don't appreciate him. The manager doesn't appreciate him. It's time to go somewhere else.
Mm.
And the sad thing is, Logan, most of our guys are in that situation.
Yeah.
Or they get hurt. Chris Richards hurt. Gio hurt. Pulisic's been hurt a few times this year. That's another running theme with all of our players. So Mueller, coming back over here to tie it back together, says all it takes is a Morris injury. All it takes is a Morris injury, a PFOC out of form, a Pepe not playing well, maybe I got a shot if I'm playing well. And that may have caused him to come back over.
Yeah, these are big games, and we'll get into a couple of the U.S. players that had some nice weekends this weekend. But like a Jesus Ferreira, he's playing his way right now into a World Cup roster. I mean, just the way that he's played so far this season. I mean, you've got guys like Brandon Vasquez that's kind of thrown his name into the pool, just like, hey, I'm still here. You might not know much about me, but I'm here. And it's guys like this, like you said, Jordan. I mean, and I think that's where we're going to get to next is kind of that growth of MLS is that we got to make sure that this becomes a league. Like I'd take a lot of these teams up against some of these Scottish Premier League teams. Like I've seen the Scottish play. Like I've seen the championship level teams play. LAFC can compete with Fulham. Like they just can't, which is shocking. Like I know that's crazy, and people will probably look at this podcast and go, "Yeah, right." They could. They could definitely compete with teams like that at the top of that championship level, even at the bottom of the Prem. I mean, I'm pretty sure if you throw up some of these MLS teams against, and we'll get to see some of that hopefully soon, but. I think that some of these teams can compete. I mean, we're getting to see like Arsenal. I never thought Arsenal would play Orlando City. Like that is not something that I ever thought would happen, but it's going to happen. So you're getting to see.
To go?
Yeah, I'm going to. Yeah, definitely. Like they're like, oh, you can go see Arsenal. Who's it? They play Chelsea, I think, too here.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'd rather see like the Arsenal because the other one's at Camping World, and I hate Camping World. And I was like, the other one's at Exploria. It's Arsenal versus Orlando City. I'd much rather see that game than Chelsea and Arsenal. So I don't know, but like a lot of these teams, I mean, the MLS that's the next step we got to take. We need MLS to get to a point now where people do, and I think that's coming with this World Cup and over the next couple of years as we progress into 2026. I think you're going to start to see the world turn and look over its shoulder because anytime that the United States, and this is kind of a bragging right that we have, anytime the United States comes up with something, a plan, and they get this youth play into the system, we become one of the best sporting leagues in the world. And I think that's what people are ultimately scared of. They're looking over their shoulder, they're constantly going, oh crap, here they come. Because now we've got, like you and I were just talking, we've got Jesse Marsh over in the Prem now. Like we've got American coaches rising through the ranks. We've got players going through the ranks. We've got players coming back to MLS that could play in the Prem. Like, I mean, that's a big thing for us. And I think MLS going forward, I think you're going to see some of that growth, but it's all important. I think that's why Chris has decided to come back. I think he's decided that this league is not an easy league and one that you can actually compete for a World Cup roster spot. So he's back.
Let's move on to the game. So we had a Texas derby here, but before we get to that, we had the first leg of the CONCACAF Champions League final. The second leg is scheduled for May 4th in Seattle with 61,000 seats sold or something. Mm-hmm. Pretty good. Pumas had a 2-0 lead, but Seattle gets 2 late penalty kicks in the 77th and 90 plus 9 minutes. It definitely was something going our way in the sense of CONCACAF for once, so that was nice. Away goals don't count in the final, but it sets it up nicely for 2-2. That's 0-0. Get to your home stadium in front of 61,000 fans. You're better than this Pumas team. I assure you are. Now go out there and play like it. And the fact that they survived the away leg when it was 2-0 makes me a little bit more confident that we might, Logan, I'm not going to jinx it. I'm knocking on wood here. We may get our first MLS Cup, our first MLS winner of the CONCACAF Champions League. And you called that before in the episode you did by yourself that we were going to have a MLS Cup winner. MLS winner in the CONCACAF Champions League. How safe do you think that is right now going into the game on Thursday? Wednesday,
yeah.
May 4th.
May 4th. May the 4th be with us. Jordan, you know how Pumas is feeling right about now?
It's over. We are screwed.
Going into a Lumen Field, Jordan, that once caused
The
an
first time
earthquake.
I've had that used on me, and that is awesome.
It's so great,
I'm
isn't
usually
it?
the one doing it.
I know. I had to get to I had to figure. I figured out this out when I've done my own podcast now because I'm now
Yes,
playing
yeah.
around with it. Now I'm like, all right, I got this. But no, Jordan, they're going into a stadium where, for those that don't know, that don't watch American football, that caused an earthquake one time, a very small earthquake in the fan base because the fans were so crazy. They're heading to a Lumen Field, Jordan. This thing is going to be wild. I mean, the atmosphere, we might not have ever seen anything like it, this atmosphere. I mean, we've got a pretty crazy atmosphere in Nashville. We had a pretty cool atmosphere in Austin, really cool atmosphere in LA with LAFC. But I think this one, it's going to hit like seismic portions. Like I think we're going to get into a battle with just the fact that like we're becoming a soccer giant. I mean, we're taking down some of these big Mexican teams that once ruled the land, and now it's starting to become apparent that I think you're right. I think Jordan, you said it, that Seattle looked like the favorites, and I expect them to go out and win. They're a home game, 2-2. It's back to a draw, and you're at your home, and they're playing extremely well in Champions League. They're starting to play really well in the league again. So it's time. It's time that the U.S. finally gets a team in CONCACAF Champions League, and I'm hoping, or Canada, and I'm hoping that Seattle can bounce them. I mean, Marshawn Lynch is going to be there, so why not? Eating Skittles.
That was great. I don't know if I'd say they're doing super well in
Super
MLS
well.
right now,
Probably one
right?
of the best teams in the league. They were on a roll, though, for a while.
Well, they lost to Inter Miami on the 16th. They lost to San Jose.
Those are hard
4-3
teams to
on the
beat,
23rd.
okay? No.
Yeah.
Why did I think they were? I guess I'm making stuff up at this point, so don't believe anything I say.
But what I do think they're sacrificing a lot of the league play for this, and I think that I asked you this I think before. What would you rather be, right? Like miss the playoffs completely or win the Champions League? It's win the Champions League. Be the first team to ever do that. And guess what? It's not even summer yet. They have plenty of time to turn it around once they win this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they can. I think they can turn it around still. I mean, what? They're sitting 5 points from a playoff spot.
With quite a few games in hand, too, I think. They've only played 7.
Yeah, with 2 to 3 games in hand. If you win those games in hand, you're near that. You're near there, right? So that is something that is a possibility for them. I think it's going to be okay. I think they have to win this, though. I don't know how bad we will feel if they end up losing this game. This is the best chance an MLS club has ever had. I know RSL sticks out in my mind because they had some chances on their home leg, which was the second leg as well, after a tied first leg, I think. But they couldn't do it, and then they lost on penalties or lost late in the game. Montreal had something similar. LAFC was a one-off, and that was probably another really good shot. COVID times, no fans really. But this is like you're going home to 61,000. You have a 2-2 tie. Close it out. Win 3-0, 3-1, get it done. I think they can do it. I'm hoping they do it.
So what happens if they win? Like, haven't gotten this far in my
They lift the
fandom
trophy.
Yeah, I get that. What is the step that do we have to beat a South American team to get to like the Club World Cup? Is that
No, they'll go right into the Club World Cup. Now the thing is, the Club World Cup is structured awfully. It's going to be in China. Is that what it is?
That would make sense. It was in Dubai last time, I believe, because Chelsea was there. Holy cow! Do you play that many teams?
Well, they're changing the rules. So this might actually be different. Last year, what it is, it used to just be 7 teams. And that's what we got in Abu Dhabi. So CONCACAF had one representative, and it was Monterrey.
Then you
And
had the
what happened
UAE.
is the way that they had it structured is you had a first round, and they would enter in the second round, and then you would go to the semifinals if you beat the second round, and then you go to the final.
Hmm.
The final is where you would face off against the EPL or UEFA, the UEFA champ. But this says for future Club World Cups, they're going to go to 24 teams.
Holy crap.
And that CONCACAF would get 3 teams. North, Central, and Caribbean. I wonder how that would work. They don't know how it's going to work yet, I guess.
I just want our team to play one of the big boys.
Watch us win it, and then they skip us for this one because they can't figure out this 24 team format at first, and they're like, we'll do it next year, and then we don't get a chance to go.
That would suck. I don't see them doing that. It's a money grab for FIFA.
Yeah.
It definitely is a money grab. I mean, if you look at the teams that were in it last year, those are not clubs I would say most people don't know these clubs that were in it last year.
Well, yeah, because it should just I understand them wanting to do 24 teams, but it should just be the winner of each confederation goes there. That's what it should be.
That's what I feel.
It should be the UEFA champion versus the Asian champion versus the CONCACAF champion versus the CONMEBOL champion.
Yeah.
That's how it should be. But it's a money pit now that they're like, let's get 24 teams and have it like a real World Cup, which is fun. But how do we qualify then? Does it have to be through the CONCACAF, or will it be like the CONCACAF plus the runner-up gets in, plus what's the secondary league we got going on in CONCACAF? The one that some of the smaller nations play in. Maybe the winner of that gets in there too.
Oh yeah.
Or Leagues Cup. Maybe the Leagues Cup winner gets in. Who knows? Let's get to MLS, I guess. So we had a Texas derby. Houston took a lead 5 minutes in against Austin. Then we get 2 goals from Austin, 39th and 66th minute. Geodis scores what is his 7th goal, I believe. Yes, 7th goal. Austin has now won 4 of their last 5 games. Logan, that puts them in second place in the West with 20 points. That puts them above any Eastern Conference team in the Supporter Shield rankings. What are your thoughts here on just Austin and what they've achieved in year 2?
Yeah, what a turnaround, right? We were talking last year they should have been in contention for that wooden spoon, but they did start to get an attack, and that attack has carried over into this season. It is impressive that the team has been built so quickly, and I think that kind of not quite Nashville level, but getting there. They don't defend as well, but they do score better than Nashville does. It's a lot of fun to kind of watch Austin come into its own, because it was a fan base that was starving for success. And now they're getting it. They lead the league in goals. They're tied with LAFC with 21 goals, which is majorly impressive. I guess the biggest concern right now is the Brad Stuver thing. I don't know if anybody saw it. Probably did if you even watched the game or any highlights. It was an awesome goal by Sebastian Ferreira, but Stuver goes down in the goal. I guess he had a laceration in his knee or something. He had to stitch it up. So he should be back. No structural damage, but he'll miss some time with the stitches, I'd imagine. So maybe a week, couple weeks. I don't know how long stitches will take to kind of heal that. But it was an ugly scene as he went rattling into the goal. But I don't know. I'm really impressed with Josh Wolf. Jordan, you and I were talking about it was a Josh Wolf out maybe kind of moment when we had the guys on from Moon Tower Soccer. So it was cool to have them on and kind of say, hey, what are you expecting? They weren't expecting too much, but now this team's come out and has really shown the league that this team can compete, and they've got money. They'll spend it. They've shown they'll spend it. So now it's about maybe adding maybe a few more pieces with some of that money that they've got. So I don't know. I really like this team. Really like the way that they've kind of come in and defended better than they did last year, and now they've got an attack to boot. So it's great. I love seeing that they have success. So
Here's a move I didn't realize happened today. Just to go back a bit, Real Salt Lake have completed the signing of Jefferson Savarino from Atletico Mineiro for $2 million plus $500K incentives. They need to go through allocation order. So this is what they did. They had to pay around $450K in GAM to move up. So Austin is receiving $325K GAM from RSL to move to number 2. To swap from number 2 to 1, FC Cincinnati is receiving $125K plus $25K of GAM incentives. Then that means Cincinnati is returning to the top spot after RSL gets their guy. This is just peak MLS. Guys reading this. It's like, wow, there you go. So FC Cincinnati has now received $225K in guaranteed GAM and $25K in conditional GAM in a pair of trades that resulted them in keeping the number 1 spot in the allocation order.
It's funny how they go to extraordinary lengths. They go to more lengths to do that, Jordan, than they do to actually build a club. Like, that damn it, we'll stay in the number 1 spot in the allocation order. Won't do anything successful with it, but hey, we tried. It's important.
It's like coveting like prospects that in baseball, that you're like, I'd rather win the World Series, but I guess we'll get or like NFL coveting draft picks, right? Like, we need to have our number 1 draft pick. Amazing. All right, let's go to Toronto, Cincinnati. Talking of Cincinnati. This was at BMO Field, and Cincinnati had a 2-0 lead through Murphy in the 44th minute, Acosta in the 52nd. Jimenez pulled one back for Toronto. Toronto had 65% possession. They had 11 shots to Cincy 7, but they each had 3 shots on goal. Cincy gets 2 of those into the net. And where we currently reside with them in the table is Cincinnati in 11th with 10 points and Toronto in 8th with 11 points. So neither of these clubs move. Well, I guess Cincinnati moves from the bottom to the middle of the pack. So that's good for them. I don't really know what to make of Cincinnati. They've been good at times this year and been kind of like mid-table, and then they like go back down for a bit. Like, this is their first win in 5 games. Those other 4 games, 3 of those were losses. 1 of those was a draw. And that draw was against a bad Atlanta United team, a team that I feel like we're coming to terms with that Atlanta's just not good this year. But keeping it on Cincinnati and Toronto right now, which one of these, they're only a few points apart here. 1 point apart. When's the separation going to start coming in? Because from 5th place Logan, NYCFC with 13 points, to 13th place is 3 points. When are we going to start getting some of the separation of the really bad teams? And like, where do you find Cincinnati? Are they going to stay mid-table here, or do they have a shot of, another wooden spoon here to add to their trophy case?
It's a good question because, I mean, up until, I guess, about 3 weeks ago, New York City FC hadn't been winning. So it was like a cluster of really bad teams playing against each other. I think it's more of that, Jordan. And I was going to kind of make that comment too. It was like, I think the 6th and 7th spot realistically this year looks like, who wants it? I mean, we this is crazy. I mean, for how stout the West usually is, and probably will be at the end of the season. I mean, we'll look back at it and go, man, that West Conference is just absolutely stacked. You look at this Eastern Conference, and it's like, what? I don't even know what to make of it. Like, Atlanta has a lot of injuries. They got Joseph hurt. Araujo's hurt. I don't really know. Like, where do you go from here? Like, how do you?
I think it's more of a who wants it more,
Yeah,
right? I mean,
right. It's got to be that.
from the top of the table in the East, 18 points, the Union, to bottom DC United, there's only 9 points. That's
Mm-hmm.
3 games, Logan. Uh, 3 games that can change the fate of your club right now. 10 games in, 9 games in, however far we're in. We're about 2 months into the season here. And we still don't know anything about the East. Orlando started off good. I could conceivably see them dropping a bit because
Mm-hmm.
you've had NYCFC come out of nowhere. Montreal is sitting 4th place. If we want to talk about that. The Crew are back in a playoff spot now. I mean, what is going on? New England was near the bottom. They're now up to 9th place. Everything is chaos. And you know what's sad is that we're actually still with DC and Chicago at the bottom, which is kind of where they've been for the last decade. So that is disheartening if you're one of their fans.
It is they've named them the wrong divisions. I mean, it doesn't make sense directionally, but they're the Wild East. Like it good luck predicting the East. That's what it should be every year. Like it should just be we should just honestly start doing live shows and throwing darts at the dartboard to
For the
see like
East.
where they kind of fall. Yeah, because I mean, Jordan, you're talking about this year teams like the Rebs sitting in ninth. Charlotte FC, who a lot of people were going to write off and say they're the wooden spoon, like us. Hell, they might even get a playoff spot this year. Like it's so crazy. I didn't expect the Fire to be this bad this early on. I didn't expect Miami to be as good as they have been. It just is. It just seems like it's just why we love the league. I mean,
So here's what, right? The East, like I said, 9 points from first to last.
mm-hmm.
In the West, it's 22 points to 4. 18 points. Logan, 18 divided by 3 is what? 9,
Six.
right? That's
6,
right? Yeah, whatever. That is 6 games. I'm not good at math. That is 6 games difference that have to go your way. And at that point, it becomes more of like probably not going to happen. Now, even if we don't want to take the top of the West, it starts to get a little bit more realistic, I guess. Dynamo in 7th place with 12 points to Vancouver with 4. That is what, a 8-point difference?
Mm-hmm.
That difference from 7 to 14
Still.
is almost the difference, Logan, from 1st to 14th in the East. That's kind of where we're at right now with the state of the Eastern Conference.
No consistency. None. Except the Union? Maybe? Kind of?
Yeah, I mean, they haven't won in 3 games.
Like, Montreal is one of the worst teams in the league starting the season. Now they're probably the best. Probably them or Austin.
Well, let's see. Well, if we're talking about East, let's look at just the East. Yes, Montreal would be at the top of your power rankings in the East. They've had 4 wins and 1 draw in 5 games. Logan, as I count here, that is the only team without a loss in their last 5 games in the East.
Yeah. Yep.
Austin would be your other one with 4 wins and 1 draw if you're looking at the West.
There's a lot of red on this sheet.
There is, especially in the East. Lots of L's.
A lot of green in that top of that West, though.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. No pun intended there. All right, let's move on to the next game, I guess. We're kind of loosely going through here. RSL beat LA Galaxy 1-0. Silva scored in the 49th minute. Stat-wise, this finished with LA Galaxy having 64% possession and 13 shots to 6. But RSL wins. So make of that what you will, I guess. That leaves them currently sitting in 5th of the West, and Galaxy still sit 3rd.
An alarming stat of the day, Jordan. The Galaxy have only scored 9 goals. Good
5 of
yikes.
those through Javier Chicharito.
So are we saying all or nothing? Needs to be Javier or going to be nobody? That's crazy. 9 goals. And they're sitting third.
I have 10. I have 10 on FB Ref.
10. Okay. Well, 9 or
But
10.
still,
either
half
way.
of your goals are coming
Bottom
from
of the
Chicharito.
league. Yikes.
We also had Montreal beat Atlanta 2-1. Mueller scored in the 4th minute. Moreno pulls one back in the 51st for Atlanta to equalize it, and then Torres scores for Montreal. Atlanta had 61% possession. Montreal ended up with more shots, 15-12. They each had 5 shots on target. So that helped Montreal climb the table a bit, but Atlanta, Logan, this is where we can kind of talk about Atlanta, who sit still, surprisingly, in a playoff spot, 7th place, but they have not won since April 2nd. That's a month ago as of today. They've had 3 losses and 1 draw against Cincinnati in their last 5 games. The new manager bump is gone, right? Like, we now have to figure out, is it just injuries, or is it the team not working well under Gonzalo Pineda, or is it just, what is it that is making this team just play so bad?
I mean, one, definitely injuries. I mean, Joseph Araujo, Brad Guzan, Santiago Sosa, like, they all spent time. It seemed, I think they had like a stat. I think there were only like 2 or 3 guys that hadn't spent time that were hurt or on an injured list. It was a wild one. If you go and look at their stats, like games played and stuff, there's only 3 guys that have played all their games: Marcelino Moreno, Lennon, and then Gutman. Other than that, I mean, there's like 6, 5. There's a spatterings of 4, which is never good. Ozzy Alonso gone for the year. Dom Dwyer is never going to stay healthy. So if you're relying on that to be good, I mean, this is like this looks like the U.S. men's national team roster. I mean, this looks like a team that's just fractured. And Jordan, you and I, like we talked about this last year, Gonzalo Pinedo did an excellent job last year to get them up off the mat. But Joseph Martinez is never going to be Joseph Martinez again. I'm pretty certain in saying that one. And after that, I mean, the team falls off quickly in talent. I mean, Marcelino Moreno is not playing like he did last year. Yeah, I mean, that he had a great year last season. Expected him to kind of be a dark horse MVP candidate maybe, but he hasn't been as good. Their attack hasn't been as good.
Well, did you know who leads them in goals right now? It
Has to be Moreno, yeah.
It is Moreno with Joseph Martinez with 2.
I was going to
Each
say
have 2.
And Moreno's a midfielder, creative midfielder. He's not really, I mean, he's going to score some, but not, I mean, you can't rely on him, right? I mean, he's kind of like a Hani Mukhtar. You kind of have to give him the ball and let him be the magician, like a talisman. But yeah, this team, I think, Jordan, you and I kind of agree on the fact that they might just have to blow this thing up. I mean, it seems like
kind of where they've been for the last few years, by the way. So here's their goal scorers: Brooks Lennon with 1, Moreno with 2, Almada with 1, Martinez with 2, Ronaldo Cisneros with 1, Caleb Wiley with 1, Araujo with 1, Mulroney with 1, Dom Dwyer with 1. That's their 11 goals. They're spreading the wealth, but Dom Dwyer, 5 games played, 1 start, only 162 minutes, 1 goal, and it was a penalty kick.
I mean, their goal differential is not bad. Like, they don't give up a ton.
They're negative, though, aren't they?
Yeah, -2, I think, according to FBref. That could be wrong.
-2.
I mean, they're with Philly and Orlando in goals scored. They have 11. We have 12.
I have 13 on Philly. Yeah.
Is it 13? See, FBref, I think, are wrong sometimes.
Well, FBref has 13.
Where am I reading that? What am I reading?
I don't know.
I don't know what I'm reading. I guess I don't know how to read.
But you had Orlando's right, 12.
Weird. Why does it show that? Ew, it's got, okay, so it's definitely different. Unless they're not. Oh, so they don't put the PKs in goals scored. That's kind of weird. on the bottom stats. All right, so that makes sense. Okay.
Okay, I'm on the main.
Yeah,
I'm on the
I see
main
what you mean. You're in the
stat.
table. Okay, yeah. So yeah, but still -2. I mean, I don't know. Expected goals, okay. Like this is just. I guess this is just a really average team, but they're not a club, Jordan, that likes average. We know that. Like that's not a place to do average. So where that early success bites you, you might not want the early success. I mean, for Cincinnati, man, you could have 3 seasons in a row where you finish top 10 and you'd be like, all right, this is great. Let's go in the right direction. Atlanta was like, quick fall. It was like you kind of have to go down eventually. And now Charlotte's playing better than them. Orlando's playing better than them. So that can't be good. Miami might start playing better than they will.
Charlotte's debatable. They've beaten Atlanta on April 10th.
Yeah.
Then they lost to New England. They drew with the Rapids, and they lost to Orlando. But they also have one more game played than them too. But yeah, I've been kind of more surprised by Charlotte, maybe because I had such a low bar for them.
Maybe that's what it is.
That it's
that's
like created this perception in my mind that Charlotte's doing better, but they're not. But the Crew have leapfrogged them, right? And the Crew, we were just talking about how bottom they were, like they were near the bottom. So let's talk about that. They beat DC United 3-0 in Columbus. Santos scores in the 28th minute, NTN in the 43rd, Nagby in the 75th. Maybe DC shouldn't have got rid of their manager. I don't know. Nothing's really changed. 57% possession for DC. They get outshot 13-11 to Columbus. Each have 3 shots on goal, but Columbus converted all theirs. Maybe it wasn't just the manager. Maybe they should have actually let him bring in some players or give him some time with the players he brought in instead of firing him after 6 games.
Matias Almeida is available if you're interested.
DC. That would really. Could you imagine? If he didn't like San Jose's front office, he's not going to like DC's.
Well, and that's the other thing too. Is like if DC didn't like Aaron on the side, they're really not going to like Matias Almeida.
Well, how about when Gareth Bale comes though?
Man, that's more attractive. But why would if you're Gareth Bale and you're like, well, I guess if he hasn't really played much, but if you're Gareth Bale and you look over here and you go, yeah, that's not the team I want to play for. Like, why not LA Galaxy or one of them? Like, I'm pretty sure
it would definitely be those or a New York team or a Miami or something.
Ugh, Miami, gross. How about a Union? I always wanted somebody to settle in.
Yeah, Miami probably wouldn't be best for him because I feel like in Miami there's probably lots of Madrid fans that would probably
they're probably like
him, and he would hate it so much. So yeah, probably not a Miami move for Gareth Bale.
He's probably looking over, going, Austin has a DP spot eventually coming up because I don't know what happens with Cecilio, but it's like,
oh yeah,
that'd be kind of fun. Gareth Bale in Texas.
Hanging out with Matthew McConaughey.
Great golf courses down there too.
Yes, yeah. I do wonder if he liked the small town though, because like
Austin's huge though.
Yeah, but I mean, like it's not like those players overseas.
It's not NYC.
Like, yeah, those players overseas just think Miami, LA, New York when they think of America. They don't think of like an Austin.
Dude, Gareth Bale, could you imagine the minute he comes into NYCFC City Football and they're like, dude, you got to go play on a baseball field. He goes, I thought we were playing golf, but I'm really confused. What sport we playing?
Yeah, especially how some of those players have like a golf swing. But yeah, New England beat Miami 2-0. Rivera in the first minute, Buxa in the 64th. 2 red cards from Miami with Lowe in the 60th, Quinteros in the 76th minute. Miami had only 33% possession. They only had 7 shots. The Revs 18. Revs kind of back on the map here as they get up to 9th place with 10 points. That is only 3 points from 5th. So 1 win and those other teams lose, and there you go. They're there. They have a game in hand of Orlando even, so that could help them out, I guess. But I think it might be time for New England fans to breathe a bit. I don't think it's time for Phil Neville to breathe a bit, though. They had 3 straight wins, Logan. They
Yeah.
did against New England, Seattle, Atlanta,
Hmm.
but they're sandwiched with 2 losses in their last 5. Those 3 wins still only give them 10 points. So again, they had 1 point before they went on that stretch. Now they have 10 points, so they're still in the same spot New England is in, where they can make a jump. Their stadium deal went through. We didn't even get really a chance to talk about that yet. But what are your thoughts on Miami? I think that Phil Neville, he can't be the manager next year, right?
It's gonna be awkward firing your best friend, isn't it? Like it's got to be. It's got to be the worst. I mean, I don't
You'll find
know.
out soon.
Yeah, right. So, thanks, Jordan. Really enjoyed my time here on the podcast. Okay, I got one thing wrong already, and you throw me out. All right. No, I like.
It's the no call no show last week.
What? I got a tendency to do that. At least that wasn't for Pokemon. All right, so people are so lost. But yeah, I mean, with Miami, they're one of the worst in attendance. I think they're 4th lowest in the attendance, and that's against teams that just like a San Jose. I think RSL is one, or the Rapids maybe. I can't remember which one, but really low in attendance. Even the teams like Cincinnati, who've been really bad in the past, have really good attendance compared to them. They're opening that new stadium deal, but man, this seems like one of those perfect storms, doesn't it? Like a team that just sucks. And I guess it's kind of like the thing in Miami to do. You just spend a lot of money on a stadium and your team just sucks. And it's like, oh my gosh. Could you imagine being a Miami sports fan right now? That'd be brutal. I mean, besides the Heat are pretty decent. But could you imagine being a Dolphin fan, a Marlin fan, and a Miami fan, like an Inter Miami fan?
I guess
Like,
your only good thing is the Heat, right? Like,
yeah, they're the only good team ever, ever.
Here's what I kind of think about their timetable. I'm reading an article here that says they're aiming for 2025 new stadium. So you got to fire Phil Neville this year.
You could be competitive,
right? Because what you want to do, exactly, you don't want to pull a Cincinnati, right, where you launch the stadium with a brand new manager, brand new GM, right? You want a successful team going into the stadium. A Nashville, right? Nashville's had the build-up to launch their stadium, and they're a successful team. And guess what? That place was packed. That place was hyped. Miami is going to want the same thing. So you're probably going to have to let go of Phil Neville at the end of this year. He's not the answer. That gives you 23 and 24 to put good product on the field, maybe relaunch again. Giving you a 25 where you're actually playing well when you launch your stadium and people are excited, and that increases from the 13,000 average attendance to like 20.
Then Wayne Rooney takes the team, Pep Guardiola, big names out there. No, but seriously, like, you gotta do better.
Tata Martino.
That actually is realistic.
When he's done with Mexico.
He'll get fired from Mexico.
He will at the end of the World Cup. I guarantee it.
Yeah. He or Greg. I mean, Greg Berhalter fit in well in Miami.
I don't know. I don't know if Miami would like. I think with Miami being like the
posh,
the rich area it is, but also like the like what Latin culture, right? That they have.
Yeah.
Like they're really Hispanic driven, right? I feel like you want to get a coach with that sort of identity, because like there probably are a lot of fans there that are like Barcelona or Madrid fans. Like whenever Messi goes around there, they freak out, right? Like,
yeah.
So you want to get somebody with those sensibilities, I think, because that'll be what they would want. A name that they recognize, a name that they can identify with, not Phil Neville.
Marcelo Bielsa. That'd be fun.
There you go. Orlando beat Charlotte at Exploria Stadium. 16 minutes into Torres scored in the 45th +1. And guess what? Our buddy, Christian Fuchs.
Our guy.
You know who got Fuchs? Orlando
Orlando.
did that time. Penalty kick. Christian Fuchs scores to make it 2-1. There you go. That's all she wrote. But, good for Orlando to actually get a win here. They've kind of been stalling a bit. They had lost against the Red Bulls 3-0. They had 2 straight wins before that, and then they had lost to LAFC a month ago. So trying to get them back on the goal. Because, their goal scoring has not been great either, Logan. Their 2 lead goal scorers have 2 goals. Mm-hmm. That's Facundo Torres and Erkan Kara.
Yeah, it's that same crap we got into last year. We get to this point where it's just treading water. I'm afraid it's the same thing this year.
You want to know about the same thing this year? Chicago Fire. Shaqiri, 17th minute in, gets a penalty kick. New York pulls an equalizer. Kilmala, the 75th minute. Then you get 2 reds. Chicago, Duran, and Shizkos in the 83rd minute. And then Kilmala getting a penalty kick in the 90+1 to give Red Bulls the victory. Pretty big for Red Bull to get the victory away from home late. Probably what they needed. They're sitting really pretty right now, Logan. They're in second place of the East. They have 17 points. That's only 1 back of Philly. That's tied with Orlando, but 1 game less than Orlando's played. Red Bulls have been a revelation this year, which is surprising because we had them 8th.
Yeah, I don't know. I love their defense. Nealis and Aaron Long. Aaron Long's been pretty good. Coronel's been fantastic since he's come over. Caceres has been really good. Lewis Morgan's been fantastic for them. His 4 goals. Yeah, I like Red Bull. They're one of the top teams in this league. They press still, and it's annoying. Orlando got to figure that one out. So I don't know. I really like Red Bull right now. I think they're doing a nice job. Gerhard seems to have them going the right direction. So they're deep.
Going to SKC, they draw with Dallas 2-2. Johnny Russell penalty kick gives them a lead. Valesco gets equalizer for Dallas. Jesus Ferreira gets the lead for Dallas in the 42nd minute. Daniel Shalloway scores in the 77th minute after a red card to Cervania on Dallas to make it 2-2. But the big thing is here, Logan, Gadi Kinda is out for the year.
Mm-hmm.
So now they're out Gadi Kinda. Now they're also out Polito.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's time to call time of death for SKC's playoff hopes, calling it May 2nd, 6:44 p.m. I had them second place in the West, and I'm thinking that's not happening now.
No, this is a really bad team. It's really crazy to say this under Peter Vermees, but things just haven't bounced their way. And you and I knew this going in. We kind of figured that Johnny Russell and Daniel Shalloway were going to have the same kind of seasons. I think we thought they were going to have good seasons, but they weren't going to have that meteoric rise that they had last year. And they can't handle those two not having it. MVP type seasons that the two of them had last year. So yeah, Gadi Kinda down, Alan Polito down, their scoring options down, their defense isn't as good. This is one of the worst SKC teams in a long time, huh? This is brutal. They're really brutal to watch.
NYCFC beat San Jose 3-0. Not much to talk about here, but all those goals are going to come late. Yankee Stadium, bottom of the 9th. Keaton Parks in the 74th minute, Dos Santos in the 78th, and Gloucester in the 88th minute. San Jose, still bad. Are you surprised by that at all?
I'm shocked.
13th place in the West with 6 points.
I thought bringing Wondolowski back, but he's not playing. But no, I'm not shocked at all. This is it's sad because they got some good young talent. I thought they always have had some pretty decent young talent. This team just seems to have no soul. So I don't know. Brutal.
Tennessee Titans soccer team opened up their stadium
God.
against Philadelphia Eagles. For people that don't know, that's a reference to People Magazine, who sent out an article today saying that Reese Witherspoon was watching the Tennessee Titans soccer club.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know, Logan, that this club has nothing to do with Tennessee Titans? It's not even like it's the same owners or anything. I don't know why.
They don't even play in the same stadium anymore.
Right.
They moved out of it.
But fun trivia fact, the first goal scored in Geodis Park Stadium was
Chris Johnson.
Was Ura from the Philadelphia Union in the 66th minute. Then there's a penalty kick for Randall Leal in the 85th. Could have been another penalty after that. Was it Corey Burke? It hit his elbow.
His elbow.
Could have been called. I like that it wasn't, not just as a biased Union fan, but he's jumping. I don't know what else you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Like it cannot be that by the book at times, It's just common sense at times.
Yeah, there's times too. I mean, I know they can't really do this because then it gets more into that gray area stuff, but there are times seriously where I'm like, that was not going anywhere. Like that had no chance to go anywhere but to the guy's hand. Like the ones that are like 2 feet from the guy and it hits him in the hand and it drops like outside the box.
Yeah, sometimes they won't call it because it's ball to hand,
yeah.
But yeah, sometimes they will, and you're like, I don't know what else you're supposed
to
do.
And was that really going to go anywhere? Is the next thing. It's like that wasn't really. I don't know. That's a weird rule, but soccer.
So yeah, Nashville SC had 30,109 people at that brand new stadium. It looked beautiful. I have to make a trip there.
Yeah.
At some point. I got to watch it because my softball games were rained out, so that worked out perfectly.
I was wondering how you're getting to live tweet it. I'm like, that's pretty sure it's softball day. Huh. Yeah. That's fun.
Got rained out.
Out in the right field watching a game or something.
My goodness. So I did nothing the whole day yesterday. It was wonderful. I mean, I vacuumed, I did some laundry and stuff, but mostly it was sitting on the couch watching sports and playing video games and stuff.
It was a good weekend, yeah.
LAFC beat Minnesota really late here in the game. Hollingshead in the 82nd minute. Cifuentes in the 90th minute to give LAFC a 2-0 victory over Minnesota. And we also skipped a game. I apologize. Colorado, Rubio scored in the 30th minute. He's going to get a red card in the 63rd. And then was it Michael Anthony K is going Mark Anthony K. Why did I say Michael? Mark Anthony K gets a goal in the 90 plus 5th to get Colorado the win over Portland. So one more time for everybody. Top of the East, Philadelphia Union, Red Bulls, Orlando City, Montreal, NYCFC, Columbus Crew, Atlanta United. Those are your playoff spots. Toronto, New England, Charlotte, Cincinnati, Miami, Chicago, DC are your teams outside of the playoffs. In the West, top of the West, LAFC, Austin FC, LA Galaxy, FC Dallas, RSL, Minnesota, Houston. Those are your playoff spots. Colorado Rapids, Nashville, Portland, Sporting KC, Seattle, San Jose, Vancouver are your teams out of a playoff spot. I know we're running long here. Let's get to the Game of the Week preview.
It's time for the Match of the Week preview.
Game of the Week / Match of the Week, whatever you want to call it. Preview is when we take a look at the schedule coming up and say, hey, this game looks pretty good. Because sometimes you just need somebody else to tell you what to watch. So we have on May 4th, Cincinnati versus Toronto in an actual MLS game at 7:30. So you can watch that as a precursor to Seattle versus Pumas, Leg 2 of the CONCACAF Champions League on FS1.
Partey.
Saturday. So what's the game of the week there, right there on Wednesday? We're all watching Cincy Toronto, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I kind of want to see how Toronto gets, going forward. And of course, we're looking at Pumas, right? We want Pumas to win.
Right. I was gonna say turn off that game. Doesn't matter. No, of course. All eyes are gonna be on Seattle Pumas at 10:00.
That game will start at 10:00, but it actually kickoff scheduled for 9:30 in the morning, so that's kind of wild.
Actually, since it's CONCACAF, it should be 10:00. It's only the MLS ones that love throwing that up.
God, that's brutal. I gotta stay up to kind of watch that too. Oof.
Saturday we have Charlotte versus Miami at 3:30. That's on Unimas TUDN and Twitter. Montreal versus Orlando in a surprising top 4 matchup.
There you go.
6:00 is Atlanta Chicago for teams that are underachieving. New York Red Bulls versus Portland in a fun matchup against a Western Conference team over here on the East. NYCFC facing off against SKC. Guess what? That's at Citi Field.
Not Man City Field. It's a baseball stadium, folks.
DC United versus Houston at 7:30. New England Revs versus Columbus at 7:30. Minnesota versus Cincy at 8:00. Dallas and Seattle at 8:30. San Jose, Colorado at 10. Oh, jeez. LAFC versus Philly at 11 p.m.
Why? Why at 11? Who schedules games?
Because that's 8:00 Western time.
Well, they're morons. I don't care.
Guess what? Kickoff 11:08. At least it's not like 11:30.
Oh yeah, because 22 minutes makes a difference.
It does. It does.
This
It really
11
does.
o'clock. I can't watch that. I'm old.
It is a Saturday.
Oh, it's still. I'm up to like
But
11.
this
at
is when the
most.
afternoon game should be. Saturday should be like cut off at 10:00. That's it. Let's get this in order here. Sunday, Vancouver versus Toronto at 4:00. Nashville versus RSL at 5. Austin and LA at 7. That's on FS1.
Wow, there's
We
some
only
really good
have,
games this
Logan,
year.
2 nationally televised games this week. The Unimas game on Saturday and then the FS1 game on Sunday.
That's ridiculous I guess I don't know. Hell, I don't think TVs operate at 11 p.m. in the East Coast. So do they really? Wow, that's kind of cool. But what? You're right. This is stupid. Like, I get the Sunday game being that, but like only, and I hate the Twitter games. God, I hate the Twitter games.
I've been
This is
watching on
brutal.
Unimas and then just being able to turn it to...
Yeah, for the YouTube TV, you can turn it to
you can turn
American
the
broadcast.
audio, which is great.
It is. It's the one benefit. For Fubo, you couldn't do it. And for Fubo, there was no option.
Really?
Yeah, there was no option to switch it to the English version. And I'll listen to some of the Spanish, but then there's parts where I can't. I'm like, I just can't because I don't know.
Well, if you happen to look away, you don't know what's going on.
Yeah, that's true. But God, there's some good games this week for not being.
Yeah, so what's your match of the week?
I'm going to go for the opposite of what you're probably going for. I'm going Austin LAFC. Only in the fact that that's 2 and 3 going against each other. 2 Western
LA
Giants.
Galaxy.
Yeah, sorry. Did I say LAFC? Yeah, they can't play because they're playing at 11 o'clock.
They're playing at 11 o'clock the night before. They can't play.
I'm just not able to get over that. That's why I keep saying it. But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to the Galaxy and Austin game. I think I'm going to go with Austin winning that game. It's at Q2, so it's a home game for Austin. But that stadium will be absolutely rocking. It'll be all right on a Sunday afternoon. So
the stadium's rocking. Don't come knocking.
All right.
So 7 o'clock, I should be home in time for that one. So that'll be good.
Will you be home in time for the 11 o'clock game?
Hold on.
Oh, sorry.
May 8th. That's Mother's Day, right? I should be off of softball, actually. I may not play that week. They usually take off for like Mother's Day or whatever.
That'd be pretty solid, huh?
I'll check. I'll have to check my schedule. But no, I may not be home in time for the 11 o'clock game.
I was kind of hoping
such a party animal. I'm like, that's when I start going out, Logan.
That's the start of my evening on a Saturday
I was hoping
night.
for 8 o'clock so I could be done, then 10 o'clock hit the town. My game of the week, I want to know what you mean by the opposite. So I'm going to say mine, and you let me know if you agree, I guess. I'm really interested in... I'm blanking here.
How are you not going LAFC and Union? It's the top 2 teams in the whole league.
Because I don't like picking the Union on.
That's what I thought you were going with. I said opposite because I thought you were going to go
Other LA
opposite
team.
LA. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm really liking the Charlotte-Miami matchup, but I'm gonna go with. Okay, I'll pick my Union. LAFC versus Philadelphia.
We'd be stupid not to. I was gonna pick it just so you didn't have to pick your Union.
Nobody's gonna wake up and watch that though. It's so late.
It's brutal for the West Coast. Absolutely, it's even brutal for the Midwest and the Mountain West. Like these are late. Like Mountain West start at 9.
That's 9 and 10 for Mountain Time and Central Time. Yeah.
Gosh, you know what, Jordan? It'd be a lot more fun if Austin had a guy like this.
Like the phenom guy, right? He's like the LeBron James of soccer.
You know, because he's from Austin, isn't he?
No, he's not from there.
Where's he from? Pennsylvania?
He's from Hershey, Pennsylvania.
Yeah. The Union would have, you know what? The Union would be more exciting if they had
like
a guy.
The phenom guy, right? He's like the LeBron James of soccer.
It's fun.
This is everybody after they are at halftime of the FC versus Union.
It's over. We are screwed.
Once they realize their sleep schedule's all messed up.
Yeah. So if you really want, just throw in a NyQuil, put on the nightcap, jump into bed. Jordan likes watching games in bed. I saw this.
I do.
Tweet. Yeah. You know, throw in the key.
I had the whole weekend to myself too. So, but you know what? I had the same amount of room in the bed because my dogs still crowded me. They slept right next to me, and I'm like, scooch over so I can use the full bed, but they didn't want to. But yeah, I think I fell asleep during the last night game, the Minnesota LAFC.
Mm-hmm.
I think once it got to 2-0 and there was still like 7 minutes left, I was like, I'm done. I'm done. I can't stay up. So I really don't know how I'm gonna do the 11 o'clock.
11 o'clock.
We sound so old. There's probably like 19-year-olds listening to this like,
dude, I'm up till 2 or 3 in the morning. Yeah,
but you probably sleep until 1. So.
I was gonna say I wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning, I think, sometimes. Get my day started.
Yeah. Hit the town. All right. I guess that'll wrap us up here.
Oh yeah.
Gotta hit the night drive.
Don't listen
Hopefully
to this before that game.
At 11 o'clock.
I was like, say, don't listen to this before the Union game. You won't be able to watch it. Just sleep. Take a little naparooski during halftime. Huh?
Not while you're driving, please. You can follow us on Twitter at Stateside Show, Instagram, Stateside Show, Facebook.com/Stateside Show, or email us stateside@gmail.com. We don't get a lot of emails, so please send an email. I know that's old school though, like writing emails. People rather just yell at you on Twitter now. But I listened to another podcast the other day, and they asked me to email, and I emailed in.
Good.
I said, I have never done this in a long time, but I'm going to sit and do it because I tell people to do it to us.
Yeah. Did you get a response?
No.
Okay, good.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Not yet.
They had to go to like the internet cafe or something to get there.
But we'll respond.
We will. Eventually.
Yeah. And we would read it on air if you email us.
Yeah. We'd be shocked if anybody contacted us.
We get some Twitter feedback, but we don't get a lot of the
email feedback.
Email variety.
Or reviews, Jordan. They can rate and review anywhere they can find podcasts. There's a little segue.
And in your review, you can tell everybody to email us.
Yeah. Please email these guys so they shut up. Oh, boy.
We still have to give away these magnets, by the way, so keep an eye on that, I guess.
Yeah.
Now
maybe
they're
next
ironic.
Yeah.
Now they're ironic because Charlotte's playing pretty well.
Jordan, they're not ironic. They're iconic.
There you go. Iconic. Get your iconic stickers. Magnets. Shirts. You know what I would have loved? I would have loved if we could have bought a shirt, sent it to Christian Fields.
We really should have. We really should have.
Like he's on the field post game.
Oh, it'd be great.
He's like, I never even heard of this show, but I'm gonna wear this.
Now we're gonna make it into the fact that it was all in favor of Christian Fuchs, not ever anything bad we were ever thinking about Charlotte.
No, this was always satire.
Yeah, this is always Fuki. This is Fooked
You
up.
can also get your Curtain is Open merch. That's still available.
And that curtain is freaking wide open.
Need a little bit more help, though. So seeing Ura score was pretty fun. All right, we'll start heading out. I want to thank everyone for listening. If you stuck around with this long, we're kind of loopy today, but it's our first time with Logan back for a week, so had to catch up on a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Hope everyone has a great rest of their week. Let's go Seattle. Be the first MLS club to win MLS. Well, not to win MLS. That makes no sense. That's DC United. To win CONCACAF Champions League. And we'll catch you next time. Hopefully in a celebratory manner and not in a depressing manner next week. So hope everyone enjoys it. We'll catch you all next time.